Well, I'm back, and I hope everybody had a great Christmas. Even more, I hope everybody survived Christmas because as I record this, it is still fucking cold out there. It's about 11 degrees. I had no water in my shower because the pipes got froze up, so I was pretty stinky for the holidays. But I figure, what the fuck, let's get back on track. I thank everybody who reached out to me during the holidays, and again, I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. But now I'm going to take you back to 1977 for a dubious double feature, Dracula's Dog and Horror High. And I was with my erstwhile companion, Big Al. Again, we went to the the Castle Theater in Irvington to see this double bill for, I guess, two reasons I'm trying to remember. One, Al really liked the titty bar down the street from the theater, or around that area. And also, we couldn't go into, I could go into New York. Big Al couldn't, because Big Al had this really bad habit of parking wherever he wanted to and getting tickets and not paying them. So he had this 1967 GTO or something like that basically was falling apart, and nobody would even want to steal it, but it still ran good because I maintained it for him. So we thought that Horror High was about getting high. We didn't realize it was a high school thing. So of course we were pretty smoked out by the time we got in there, so we settled in, and the first feature was Horror High, and starred Pat Carty, who had done a lot of TV when he was a kid and is still in the business today, I think. And Austin Stoker from Assault on Precinct 13, who was a really cool guy, and again, he played a cop. So the story is that Vernon Potts, this nerd, has a lot of enemies in high school and has mixed up this potion, which basically makes this film a low-budget version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, because they allude to that during a film presentation. He has a nasty teacher who basically cuts up his biology report with a paper cutter, which prompted Big Al to state the obvious. I got a funny feeling they're going to kill somebody with that fucking thing. Okay, he stated the obvious. So anyway, he's having a problem with a janitor, and the janitor's cat's trying to get to this guinea pig, Mr. Mumps, who he's been giving this drug to. And it looks like the guinea pig went fucking batshit and killed this guy's cat, the janitor's cat, who he doesn't like. And Potts and the janitor have it out, and the janitor makes Potts drink some of these vile foamy liquids, which turns him into some kind of fucking shadowy monster, who basically takes the janitor and shoves his head into a barrel of sulfuric acid, followed by his body and the body of the cat and Mr. Mumps. Detective Stoker, or Lieutenant, or whatever the fuck he's playing, arrives and starts to talk to Vernon. And it's pretty lackadaisical from there, but then Vernon is threatened by this teacher with the paper cutter, who basically says that if he doesn't show up at a certain thing, he's going to fail the course and stay back. So he drinks more vile foamy liquids and turns into this creature who basically chops off her fingers with the paper cutter, a la Big Al would say that would happen, and decapitates her. Well, of course, he's interrogated again and has some kind of excuses and floats by. In the meantime, he's now dating the girl that's with the big football jock, who his coach confronts him and wants him to allow the guy to cheat so he can stay in school. Otherwise, he will make the rest of Potts's phys ed class a living hell. So you know what's going to happen. So there's a bunch of spooky shit going on with a thunderstorm in the high school. The cops are there. They think the coach is doing something. But Vernon sneaks in and puts on these cleats and basically stomps the coach to death near the cops. The next day, he's dating this girl and gets a call from Roger, who was accused of the murder, saying that he knows what's going on and he's going to set him up. Well, they all go back to the school, and of course he transforms in front of the girl, and the cops are waiting for him. He runs out. Roger's taunting him from a window. He pulls Roger out the window and dices him up with the glass and is killing him, when the cops decide to empty a bunch of shotguns into him, ending this whole thing. Very low budget, obvious cuts to make it a PG rating, which has been restored on a Blu-ray that came out of the DVD. Stoker is always good, and like I said, very cool guy, very cool to talk to. Met him at a few conventions. Unfortunately, he passed away this year, and he will be missed. This also was released to TV as Twisted Brain with another cut-down version of it. But now we get into the main event, Dracula's dog. It seems that Dracula had a faithful dog and a faithful servant that were buried with stakes through their hearts out in Transylvania. Well, due to some Russian shelling, these bodies are unearthed, and of course one idiot pulls the stake out of the dog and is bitten and drained of blood. And Dracula's assistant, Reggie Nader, is awakened, and they find out that the only living relative of Dracula is a Michael Drake living in Los Angeles, played by Michael Pataki, who actually is playing against type because he's usually a heel, but they do deck him out as a vampire, a la Grave of the Vampire, and he looks pretty cool like that. But he's out with a couple dogs and a litter of puppies, and there's some rednecks hunting. And of course, they follow him to America. They're in a camper. Actually, the camper, from what I understand, was the most expensive prop in this movie. So one by one, the dogs are turned into vampires by Zoltan, the Hound of Hell. Zoltan is played by a Doberman, and Dobermans look nasty. So he just turned 2 German Shepherds and a mutt and a puppy, and they're basically surrounding the camper. And there is hot pursuit, though, from an inspector played by Jose Ferrer, who's tracking them to America and tells Michael Drake what he's dealing with. Well, at one scene, they're in a cabin, and Zoltan is chewing his way through the roof to get to them. It's all some crazy shit. Dogs are all staked out. Finally, Zoltan is put back to rest. Reggie gets a stake through his heart. And, of course, they leave it open for a sequel because one puppy digs itself out of the grave that was missed and has glowing red eyes. So, during this whole thing, Big Al was like mentioning, maybe I should get a dog. And I'm like, maybe you shouldn't because you don't fucking take care of anything you ever owned. So, you know, it was interesting. This was directed by Albert Band. And like I said, you know, double feature, this and Horror High. And it was okay. You know, both of them were a little bit toned down. Their release on Blu-rays, both have added footage that was taken out. Dracula's Dog's a hoot. It's been released as Zoltan Hound of Hell. I have these here. Oh, Zoltan Hound of Dracula on the Blu-ray. And Horror High on the Code Red DVD, which was put out by the late William Olson. So they're available. Just putting this out there that this is the way I saw them on a double feature back in '77 down at the now probably gone Castle Theater in Irvington. So, yeah, we're approaching a new year, and we'll have a couple more episodes to tie this thing up. So until then, stay safe, stay fucking warm, because I'm going to try to go out today, and we'll catch you on the flip side.